The egg that owed too much. Imagine an egg, white, perfectly round, with that aura of a peaceful breakfast. Now imagine that this egg owes 34 trillion shells. A single egg carrying a debt the size of a mountain of omelets. Sound surreal? Well, that's exactly how the US economy works today. It all started when the Fox government decided it wanted more than it had. It wanted new roads, bigger schools, space rockets, distant wars, and of course, benefits for everyone. But the problem was simple. There weren't enough shells to pay for all that. The solution? Borrow. First from the hens in its own forest, then from richer foxes, and eventually from entire coops across the sea. Each promised egg came with interest, and each loan pushed the debt a little higher up the stack. Year after year, spending outpaces the collection of shells. It's like ordering more omelets for breakfast than the market can supply. And the strangest part? For a while, it all seems to work. The government prints more shells, injects confidence into the henhouse, and the cycle continues. Until prices start to rise. What once bought a dozen now barely buys 3. The debt grows silently, like a yolk spreading slowly across a frying pan. And no one tells you that this seemingly harmless egg carries an unpayable promise. The promise that the future will cover for the present. But what if the future is hungry? If this video is helping you understand how one egg can carry the world's biggest debt, go ahead and like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still thinks printing more shells is the answer. Because this debt omelet is just getting started.
Shell game economics. When the government needs more shells, it has 2 options. Raise taxes from the forest's eggs or perform a little magic. The preferred magic? Issue debt. It's like the government saying, lend me your shells now and I'll pay you back with a little extra later. Sounds fair. But here's where the shell game begins. These promises, called bonds, are bought by rich foxes, foreign funds, even retired hens looking for a safe return. Everyone throws shells into the pot, expecting an omelet later. But the future keeps piling up with more and more promises. Each year, the government needs more shells just to pay interest on the debt it already has. It's the rollover economy. Borrow one egg to pay for the last and keep stacking. Here comes the trick. Instead of cutting spending or raising taxes, which would upset the hens, the government prints new shells to buy its own bonds. It's like selling an egg to yourself and celebrating the profit. On paper, it all looks balanced. The debt grows, but markets function. Eggs are still traded, and hens keep laying. But the whole thing is propped up by a single force: trust. If one day the bond buyers, the international foxes, the retirement funds, even the eggs themselves stop believing the government can repay, it all unravels. Because there aren't enough real shells in the world to fulfill all those promises at once. And that's when the game of shells becomes a scramble for real eggs, a race the government might not win with promises alone. Because once trust breaks, even hens stop laying.
When eggs pay the interest. Government debt is like a giant pot of boiling water. Even if you stop adding heat, it keeps bubbling. What fuels that bubbling? Interest. Every year, a massive chunk of the government's budget goes just to pay the cost of keeping that debt alive, not to reduce it, just to keep the egg in the frying pan. This means that before investing in new schools, hospitals, or henhouse security, the government must first set aside a mountain of shells for its creditors. It's like waking up every day and giving away half your omelet to pay for yesterday's breakfast. The hens working today are footing the bill for omelets eaten decades ago. As the debt grows, interest payments grow too.
And the worst inflation isn't the one that hits the market. It's the one that eats the budget. Money that used to build nests now gets used to patch holes in the ground. It's the debt cycle. The more you owe, the more it costs to owe. And the burden doesn't fall on the rich foxes who buy bonds. It falls on the everyday eggs, the ones who pay taxes, depend on public services, and feel the missing shells in vital programs. It's an invisible tax, silent but real. A redirection of productive energy just to keep alive a machine that no longer delivers. The irony is bitter. The more eggs contribute, the less they receive. Because their contribution doesn't nourish the present, it feeds the expired promises of an unwise past. A past that swore everything would be fine as long as the hens kept laying.
Debt ceiling omelet showdown. At some point, the government foxes realize the debt has grown so large it no longer fits in the basket. That's when they hit the ceiling, literally. The infamous debt ceiling, a legal limit on how much the government can owe. Sounds like a safety lock, right? But in reality, it becomes a political omelet war. On one side, foxes insist, we must raise the ceiling or shut down the government. On the other, furious hens scream, stop frying our eggs. The forest watches in suspense. Public services threaten to close, pensions freeze, even the postal owls stop flying. All because politicians can't agree on who holds the frying pan. The most ironic part? The ceiling doesn't prevent the government from spending. It only limits how much it can borrow after it already spent. It's like doing your grocery shopping, arriving at checkout, and then remembering your card has a limit. The debate isn't over the spending, it's over how to pay the bill. Every time the ceiling looms, the circus begins. Alarming headlines, credit rating agencies threatening downgrades, eggs panicking and stuffing shells under their nests. And in the end, the ceiling is lifted, almost always because no one wants to be the politician who caused the richest forest in the world to default. But with every lift, a question hangs in the air, like a yolk about to burst. How much longer can we keep pushing the ceiling higher before it cracks for good? And what happens if one day the hens refuse to lay?
The invisible shell tax. There's a tax no one sees, but everyone pays. It's not on your return, it's not on your receipt, it's not voted on in the Fox Assembly. But it's there, hidden in every egg, every basket, every market transaction. It's inflation, and much of it is the cost of a debt that never stops growing. When the government prints more shells to pay its bills, it dilutes the value of the shells already out there. It's like if every hen suddenly laid twice as many eggs. Sounds great at first, but soon eggs lose value. Your basket fills faster, but buys less. What looked like prosperity turns into quiet scarcity. This is the tax nobody voted for, but everyone feels. The egg that used to cost 5 shells now costs 7. Breakfast gets smaller. Salaries don't keep up. Rich foxes with stored eggs and land win, but the everyday eggs, the ones who live off today's work, see their purchasing power sizzle in the heat. The scariest part? All of this happens without an announcement. No speech in the henhouse, no vote, no choice. Just a silent erosion of value, of savings, of trust, all in the name of keeping a debt alive that no one wants to face directly. In the end, the real issue isn't just economic, it's psychological. A system built on promises only works if everyone believes those promises will be kept. But when even the eggs start to doubt, the cracks appear. And no amount of new shells can fix an omelet made without balance. If this video helped you understand how public debt affects every egg in the forest, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still thinks this problem is far away. Because truth is, we're all already paying for it, whether we notice or not. And the next time someone offers you a free egg, ask, Whose omelet is being fried in your place?